What's up, guys? Today we are finishing breaking down the block, the D16 right there. We are going to hone the cylinder walls, we're going to paint the block, and we are going to clean up the head gasket surface. Not in that order, but we're going to get this thing ready to be built, basically. So the pistons are out of this thing, but the crank is still in it. We're not going to break it down like 100%. I'm probably going to leave this water pump on there because I don't want to mess with the gasket. I just replaced this thing and I don't want to mess it up. We're going to leave this in here because I don't want to end up having to replace those O-rings. And we're probably going to thread the oil pump on, or the old oil filter on there for when we paint. But we are going to take the oil pump off. We're going to take this mounting bracket off. We're going to take this bracket off and this bracket off so we can kind of clean everything, paint what we want to. We're going to come over here, take the rear main seal off there so that way we can get the crank out. And then once we have the crank out and we're at that point, we're going to clean up this surface, get everything good, hone the cylinder walls, and then we're going to wash everything and paint the block.
When you feel the world is over, when you say you're feeling lonely, if you ever need a shoulder, you know where to find me. Stop chasing all the city lights, breathe me in, go on.
Okay. So I got the crank out now. I'm going to go ahead and take out all these main bearings. I already pulled the thrust washers out. One was wore, one wasn't. But I got new ones, so it's fine.
You know where to find me tonight.
Alright, so we got the crank out and the main bearings and all that stuff. Now we're going to go ahead and clean up the surface. It's actually already super clean. Like nothing is stuck to it at all, which is cool. It makes me think that maybe the head gasket was changed right before I got the motor or something. But I put almost 100,000 miles on it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get all these surfaces right here cleaned up, all this black off of them. To do that, I'm going to use, and don't yell at me, but I'm going to use green Scotch-Brite. A lot of people have arguments about what's the best thing to use. This is what I use for head gasket surfaces. I've never had any problems. I know you can like get the fibers down in the bearings and wear out the bearings prematurely, but it's whatever. I'm cleaning out this block anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning these surfaces and get them perfect, and then after that we are going to hone the cylinder walls.
When you feel the world is over, when you say you're feeling lonely.
Alright, I'm calling it for today, but here's what the head looks like. Really super smooth. You may have noticed that I did use a die grinder with a Scotch-Brite pad on the end, and that was just to get like these areas right here that aren't actually touched by the head gasket at all, and then a little bit of like the high lip areas along the edge that were tearing up my Scotch-Brite pads. So I knocked those down, but like this right here, this little edge and this part right here is normally out in the open. They were originally machined down with the rest of the block surface, which is why they're flat like this, but they don't all get covered by the head gasket. Like none of this gets covered by the head gasket up here, but I got that with the wheel just to clean it up a little bit because it was all built up and corroded. So knocked that down. Everything looks super good. These surfaces are all really clean now, so should be good to go. We just have to do the same thing on the head, but I'm not going to do that until after we're done building the block. All right, guys, today we are going to go ahead and continue working on the Civic motor. We're going to hone the cylinders here. They're a little dirty. I'm going to wipe them out first, And then I'm going to spray them down with WD-40. I bought a flex hone. I'm going to show you that really quick. So here it is. I'll put a link to this in the description. I believe this one's 240 grit and yeah, 76 millimeter for the D16. So I'll throw a link to this in the description. I'll throw a link to one for a B series as well, if you'd like. So I've never done this before, but I know that you want as close to a 45-degree crosshatch as possible. So I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. Alright, so the crosshatch is good. I'm going to see if you can kind of see it. There you go. You can see I got pretty much 45 degrees right there, but you can see some of the scratches through it still. And that is not from coming up at the top without stopping, because I mean you can see like my crosshatch right there is good and there is good, but you can I think maybe I just didn't do it long enough. You got some like imperfection like right there and some of these scratches underneath. Now I might not be able to get those out like completely, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this one more time and see if those will come out at all.
Take your bite, count on me to make you come alive. You know where to find me tonight. You know where to find me tonight.
Alright, so it does look much better, but I still didn't get down to those scratches. I'm not going to go any further than that though, because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to take too much off. But I can't get it to focus. Oh, there we go. So that's what the crosshatch looks like. It's actually really good. Just about 45 degrees it looks like. It's kind of hard to see in the pictures, but like you can see those scratches. The dark ones coming up like that. They all look pretty good. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and spray this thing down with a degreaser and clean it all up so we can paint it. So I got this good and ready to go. The issue that I had is when I washed it, I wasn't quick enough and it started flash rusting. So I just ran the hone in it again really quickly, not for very long, just to get that rust out of there. And I wiped down the cylinder walls with oil this time, and the top with oil too, because the top started rusting. So I had to use the Scotch-Brite on them and then wipe them down with oil. Made sure to get all the loose stuff off. The engine, I got it pretty clean. Obviously, like, if you try hard enough, you can get some of this stuff off, but like that's making my finger black and that's about it. It's not really coming off. So I think I'm just gonna paint over all of whatever's left on here. I know it might not be the best paint job. I don't really care. I just want this thing to look somewhat decent. So we're gonna go ahead and start masking stuff off. All right, we got this thing ready for paint. I got a drop cloth over my engine stand so that doesn't get overspray. I got a bunch of tape here all over the top so nothing gets like in the cylinders. I didn't tape off the bottom, but I don't really plan on painting that. Maybe if I do, I'll just like touch it up a little bit. This should be good to go. I covered up the D16x7 so that still shows through. And I plugged all the holes with paper towel, and there's a cop going that way. Or an ambulance. Plugged all those holes, but I'm not going to paint either of the two sides. I'm just going to paint the front and the back. So here's what the engine looks like all finished. It looks pretty good. I already took off some of the masking. I'm going to leave this on until my oil pump comes in. And then we're gonna get working on this motor some more. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Make sure that if you liked it, you give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell and share the video if you don't mind. Stay tuned, there's going to be much more coming where this came from. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out.